Hi.
Hello. Happy Wednesday. What a confusing week, right? Monday felt like Sunday, Tuesday felt like Monday, but I hope everyone took some time Monday for themselves. And I hope to see some of you guys at the Compass Retreat. I think, what is it? It's next week, right? Jesus. Years going by fast. So, couple housekeeping items. I know the summer's coming up for many of us, and a lot of people check out. And so what I want you all to think about is calendar out the times that you're off and the times that you're work, right? If you're coming to one 30-minute session a week, continue to come once a week. What you do in the summer will set up your fall and winter and the momentum into next year. And we did this last year, and we'll do this again this year. Last year, I think Cherish can remember, we did a really cool AI course last summer. And so this year we have a new course that we've made. So the first session will be on how to personalize your ChatGPT to sound like you, think like you, know your clients. The second session will be how to do all of your marketing, including virtual staging with ChatGPT. And the third one's my favorite. So did you know that you can actually create videos that look like you and sound like you and endless content without ever having to be on camera for 1 minute? So the third session is on how to create content without being on camera. So that's what we have planned for you guys over the summer months. We know that AI is probably arguably the hottest topic in anything right now. And look, I'll give you guys some statistics. If you look at something like ChatGPT, 23% of adults 20 years or older have used it once, which means 77% of people have not. Now, out of that 23%, 92% have never even used more than one prompt. We are in the infant stages of something that will change the way that all of our lives are forever. So there's only two types of people in my mind that will exist in the world, in companies, people that use AI and people that don't, right? So we want to make sure that we're on the forefront of using artificial intelligence because it's smarter, it's faster, it's more efficient. And my favorite part is for all of us, it does not cost a lot of money, right? So Google recently released something called VEO 3, where you can literally make cinematic videos with prompts, right? Now, think about that for videos about buying a home, selling a home, customer service, just content for your social media. All of these things that before you needed these massive budgets and time for, now you don't need anymore, right? So what I want you to do is be curious. I want you all to lean in and understand that this is nothing that requires a unique skill set. All I'm asking you to do every day is just go on here and just play around with it. Type in, Javanka, the craziest things that you can think about, ask it weird questions, tell it things like, explain this to me so a third grader can understand, and you'll build your own rhythm and flow with it. But you'll also realize that you can use this in every aspect of your life. My kids use it all the time. My son thought he fractured his foot. He hit his foot on a couch playing football inside of his friend's house. Took a picture of his foot, uploaded to ChatGPT, tracked his progress. It was all captured in a thread. He's like, I don't need to go to urgent care. He goes, why? And he showed me the whole thread. I'm like, oh my God. And he's 11. My daughter uses it for recipes, putting things together. It's incredible. But this is the world that we're living in, and it's going faster and faster. And the one thing we know about real estate is any new technology or trend, real estate's like the last industry in the world to adopt it. Right. So we'll bring in an AI component today. And so this is arguably, I think, one of the most important aspects of being an agent is the way that you tour properties and collect feedback, right? Has anyone bought a home recently? Okay, well, I can tell you this from my experience in buying homes. I love my real estate agent here in Westport, Karen Scott, is because she organizes everything. She knows everything about me, right? I don't have to think about this. If your clients are paying you 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 and they're tracking the information on a house and they have to remember all of it, you're going to realize that they're either going to want to pay you less money or they're going to go somewhere else, right? We at this company actually have the technology stack to be able to integrate this into a seamless process for clients, right? So we're going to go through this today. So we'll go through an overview and touring, collecting feedback, the challenge with touring, leveraging AI, client experience in the role of an agent, tours, integrating your functional flow, collecting feedback, putting it all together, and what you need to do. So here is the saying, how it starts is how it goes, meaning the experience that somebody has with you in the beginning is generally how it goes, right? Scheduling and touring is one of the first things that we really do. And it says I always say the real sale starts after somebody hires you, right? Feedback is a key component in the experience, and it's a major opportunity to reinforce your value proposition, right? So is there anyone here that's doing what they feel is a good job of collecting feedback and organizing it? So the answer is no. Well, then my next question is why? Why is it hard for you to organize and collect feedback? Yolanda? Yep. Who unmuted themselves? Why is it hard? Stacy?
I would say because I still have buyers who are just, enjoying going out on their own, So I'm not right there with them side by side to get their feedback. I do check in, but it's not the same.
Well, let's assume
Not as
these are,
tight as I would like it to be.
let's assume these are only clients that you're actually going out with.
Oh, well, I mean, the clients that I have, hmm. I mean, if I'm going out with them, of course, like if, for example, this has happened, I'm going out, I'm listening to what they're saying, what they like about maybe a townhome. Is it dated? Does it need work? Let's mark it off the list because actually I think I want a house now with a pool.
Where does all that information live?
It all lives in the collection underneath that house that we've toured, and so now they have it, and I note it as um, client tour with the date. I put the day, the date, and then what the notes are, what the feedback is.
So ready? Now, remember my quote, the sole purpose of data is to make future decisions off of it. Now let's look at the way that the data is, right? The data is living in all these different silos to properties, which is way more than most people do, right? So it's really organized. You have the date, you have the feedback, and everything else, right? Now, what happens when you have to sit down with a client and go through all their feedback to make a change to the home search so they actually find a house? Right? You have to actually go back and you have to copy and you have to paste and you have to read it and everything else. Look, I think that the challenge here for everyone is we don't have a system, we don't have a process, and we aren't clear on, write these 3 words down: purpose, outcome, next step, right? The purpose of feedback from listings is to understand what clients like and don't like. The outcome is putting it into an organized place that you can make decisions out of it. And the next step is making it available for yourself and the buyers so that you can have thoughtful conversations around it, right? So in anything you do, you want to look at, here's the purpose of what I'm doing. Here's the outcome that I want to get out of it, right? The purpose is to collect feedback, to organize their experience, make it easy for them to make decisions. The outcome is what happens as a result. And the next step is what we plan and do. And we want to generally explain this all to them in the beginning, right? And look, it's a major opportunity to reinforce your value proposition, right? Here's the challenge with it though. It involves in-depth listening and taking notes, right? So how can you listen to respond, listen to take notes, and all be there at once, right? Conversations also happen through many different channels, right? Email, text, phone calls. When you're out with clients, it's not easy always to capture all of these details. Again, if you don't have a process, right? So can I share with you guys a crazy thing that I used to do when I was an agent? So what I used to do, because there was no way of doing this, and I realized how valuable the feedback was, because you need people to hear in their own words why something didn't work, so they come to the conclusion that they need to do something different. So I used to have like, I forgot what these things were called, but they're like these little cameras that were like this. And at the end of every showing, I would ask them like, hey, can I ask you a few questions about this house? Like, what'd you love most? What were the deal breakers? And is this a house you'd actually consider? Then there was like a thing where you could put it into your computer and upload it directly to YouTube. I was making every client their own YouTube channel so they could go on there and see feedback. Right. And it was incredible because they're not going to remember this. Right. So again, it goes back to the lack of structure and having predictable outcomes and results. Right. So this is where we really need to lean into technology. Right. Compass One. All of these different things are here. Right. Now, you can't necessarily put feedback directly in here, but in the documents and resources, you can attach a Google Doc. You can put all of their feedback in there into one place. Their tours and all the homes that they see live in one place. You do what Stacy had suggested is you have it in their collection. So like they're getting into that physical activity of writing the feedback, right? And then you look at the way that this translates, right? It's like the collaborative search is what you have. You focus on tours. If they're making an offer, right? The CMAs live there. And in the documents, you can put this personalized feedback journal. So anytime, anywhere, any place, any device, they can click a few buttons and then have access to everything from the properties they've seen down to the things that they liked and didn't like about each home. Now, can anyone tell me wholeheartedly that is not a search process empowered by technology? I find that some buyers today, let's see what Suzanne said. I find that some buyers today are still on the fence, waiting for lower prices, lower interest rates, desire to purchase is great. However, they just don't like what they have to do to become a homeowner. Well, that is not an objection. That is a condition. So for something like that, you want to test the market, right? We go through, let's make sure that we find the right deal for you and your family. So let's go back the last 12 to 24 months and see if that existed. You go back 3 months, you ask them, Suzanne, are there any deals that would make you guys feel like this was the right buy for you? No. 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, if they're crazy, or as I say, batshit crazy, you go back 24 months and you say, based on the fact that there have been little to no deals that you felt were right for you and your family, how can I best support you going forward? Because do either one of us choose the price a buyer is willing to pay for a home? Nope. Do we control or choose the prices that sellers are willing to pay for a home? No. So a lot of this all goes back down to pre-qualifying and really listening, right? And then the other thing is, instead of negotiating price, negotiate buy downs, like a 3-2-1 buy down, like where the rate goes down 3 points the first year, 2 points the second year, 1 point the third year. It is like on $1 million, I think is like $19,000, right? So that will make a big difference for the buyer that's rate sensitive, as opposed to negotiating a price. Negotiate a buy down. Seller gets a price, the buyer gets a better payment. It's a win-win. And within 3 years, there'll be an opportunity to refinance. But we have to get used to leveraging technology and the resources and being creative in this market. So how many people have a plod note? Cherish, you need a plod note. Stacy, do you use your plod note? Unmute yourself.
Yes, I do. Not as much as I want to though, because I'm so excited about it.
Yolanda, do you use it? How do you use it? Unmute yourself, please.
Yes, I use it every time. And they love it. They are impressed whenever I have that resource.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Guys, we work at a $1 billion technology company. We want to use Compass One. We want to use Plod Notes. We want to wow people, right? So here's the thing. It's you can get ones now that you can wear as a bracelet. You can get ones you can wear as a pin. You can also get them that they go on the back of your phone. So there's a lot of different options on how you can use.
Yeah.
I feel like I had to sneeze. Now here's the thing. It allows you to be present and capture all of the information. Then it organizes it into follow-ups in minutes. So what I would say is, I'd say Yolanda and Tracy, would it be okay if I leverage an AI voice recording device and at the end of every showing, before you went to the next home, aligned on a few different things of what you loved most about the home, what the deal breakers it was, if you're interested or there's any additional information. And at the end of our showing, I'll organize all this into one Google Doc and share it with you so everything lives in one place so that you never have to worry or think about something that was important to you. Who's going to say no to that? Nobody, right? Put the recordings, you copy and paste it all together, you're done, right? And then now you have a list of all the things you said you're going to do, things that they wanted. And then remember, when we're talking to people about giving people things, right? Do you know how I normally say, hey, Dad, can I get that to you by tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening? You all do realize that morning, afternoon, and evening all mean something different to somebody depending on what time they wake up. It is a recipe for disappointment. So start getting in the habit of saying, can I get this to you tomorrow morning by 10 a.m., 11 a.m., tomorrow afternoon by 1 p.m. So there's a deadline, right? Now, if you go into your Compass CRM and you create what you told them you're going to do as a task, and it says, send comps for 123 Main Street by 1 p.m. You log in and you're looking at your time block to actually do your work for your clients. You click the task buttons. There's all the promises you made for that day by 1 p.m., by 10 a.m., and you'll know exactly what time that you need to do everything by. So it'll help you stay organized, it'll help you keep things in order, and everything you do lives in one place for the clients. Won't that save you time? Everybody nod your head and say yes. You don't have to lie to your clients anymore when they call you and be like, oh my God, I was just doing that for you. No, they know you're lying. Don't say that to people. Right? Oops. So look, our job is to organize the entire home buying experience. It's what they need in one centralized location, which is Compass One, and no other broker in America has anything like this. It creates ease and simplicity through organization, right? We want our clients to be able to go back to the information, but do you know what this does for you? Anybody know? What does this do for you? What is the real big benefit to you? It gives you time back in your day. Because when people can't find something, what do? They call, they email, and they text you. Right? And it makes the client experience in alignment with their investment. Think about it. You go to what's the difference between the Four Seasons and the Holiday Inn? They're both a hotel room with a bed and a bathroom, right? Some Holiday Inns can have a cool view. It's the service and the experience. You go to the Four Seasons or the Ritz-Carlton, it says, hey, Mr. Shah, welcome back. We noticed last time you went to the steakhouse and you really enjoyed it. Would you like us to make another appointment? It's that easy. For a plug note, you could buy one on Amazon. They're like a couple $100 for the year, and you could get it delivered in 2 days. Right? So look, I always tell people there's a big difference between hearing something and knowing how to do it. I talk to people all the time, like, Chirag, but I've heard this before. And I go, yeah, I bet you have children too. How many times your kids have to hear things over and over again? And look, it is a complicated transaction. Like the idea or the onus to put it on you that you're going to hear this one time and magically know how to do all of these small things to perfection is not realistic. It's like it's like Steph Curry shoots 92% from the free throw line. Why? Because he practices the free throws every day. If the most of your business is a buyer business, there's nothing you'll ever lose in your life by investing 30 minutes a week into hearing this over and over and over again, because you're just going to get incrementally better. And every time you get better, you hear the same information through a different lens. Has anyone ever watched a multi-season TV show more than once? Okay, just me. Has anyone watched Lost? Jessica.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry. I raised my hand for seeing a multi-season more than once.
yeah, I remember watching Lost as a young adult in my 20s. I would go on a blog. I'd try to figure all these things out. It made no sense. I watched it the second time. Everything that I didn't understand the first time made complete sense to me. But that's the power of repetition. Scheduling tours. I think tours is one of the most underutilized apps at Compass, right? You can, if you look at it as the client view, it's beautiful, it's organized, right? It allows you to create a calendar invite from there. You just have to take out all the information and then you share the link with the client, and you could share it in a recap email if you choose. Like, hey, Cherish, here's a link to the tour and the properties we saw, and below is a second link to all the feedback and the items you requested. Is it okay if I get it to you by 10 a.m. tomorrow? We can make our lives easier by just implementing process and systems, right? So here's a great place to integrate your functional flow, right? Now, you can start asking them questions about the experience they're looking to have in a home, how they see the home aligns with their goals. Do you know how nice it is for a buyer to see, like, you know, you had mentioned you really want a backyard, Cherish. So what kind of experience is like, oh, at 123 Main Street, we could do this, 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 and this. In your recap notes, it says at 123 Main Street, these are the experiences you could have in the home, right? And it also points out the areas that don't align with their functional flow and why. So now when they're looking at properties in their mind, we subconsciously program to have a new filter, right? So how many times are we going to buyers like, that home really doesn't fit your needs? Why do you want to look at it? They're supposed to be like, hey, remember those three main experiences you want in a home? Can you have all three of those here? No. Okay, so we don't want you to settle. Let's cross it off the list. That sounds a lot better than the one. And then the buyer's like, well, I just want to see it. See it for what? It's like when you could afford $800,000 and you see $1.5 million house, like you're never going to want the $800,000 house, right? You know, like anyone can look at properties. You know, my son's weird. He likes to go to look at open houses. And he's like, Dad, look, like he'll go online on his own and be like, Dad, there's an open house at a $10 million house. I'm like, we're not going to a $10 million house. And we're just gonna be disappointed in anywhere else we go. And we're gonna not even like our own house, which we love, right? This is a way to create alignment, right? Be really clear with yourself first what you're collecting feedback on. Is it their experiences? Is it location? Is it they don't know what they're doing, so this is what we're learning, right? At the end of every showing, it takes 3 minutes with a plug note to ask people questions. Keep the questions consistent, organize it in a Google Doc, share in a follow-up email, and store the document into Compass One. You can take these slides and you could literally have an entire process that's already done for you. So look, order your plug note. Create the client experience for yourself first. What does that mean? It's the most important. Make a dummy account and send yourself a tour. Make a dummy account and learn Compass One on what your buyer is actually seeing there. And then if you have an accountability partner, you should do this for each other, right? Like have somebody in Compass One that, like I would set Cherish or Christina up or Stacy up. And then I would add a comment and I'd see what kind of notifications you get. You want to understand what your client's experience is like, because that will organically help you speak with confidence about the value of the technology versus like what we're all taught to do is like, here are all the buttons we could hit and here's what happens. No. Like I want to be able to say, you know, Stacy, one of the parts of us collaborating together is I can assign you different things that you need to do. You'll get a notification on it. Once it's done, I can get a notification, right? This streamlines our communication. It saves you time. We don't want to talk about it. It saves us time. And it organizes everything we do in one place. Do you think that'll be helpful in having a great experience in buying a home? Absolutely, right? And create a system on tours, confirmation emails, and follow-up emails, right? Like these things are all important. Now, when you have a tour, you could say, hey, just confirming our showings for 10 a.m. below is the full itinerary in the order of the property with the best set of directions. And then we'll also be asking you these questions at the end so that we can collect our feedback, and we'll send it to you all in a recap email. If there's something else you need to know or a property that you'd like additional time in, let me know and I'll adjust accordingly. That's it. So you need to go through the client experience, right? Feel comfortable and confident in the process and make adjustments based on real world experiences. All right, so we have 5 minutes now for questions before we go into our accountability session.
Are all of your documents from the training, have they been moved into our platform on Compass yet?
So we We are almost 5 months into this project, right?
Okay.
So we have the timelines built out. Now, after you build out all the timelines, you have to duplicate tasks. So what the client sees and what you see are different, right? Then you have to hyperlink all of these different resources and scripts and copy docs. And we're literally going into Marketing Center and making all new stuff for everything. So it'll be ready because come July, and this is why being locked in the summer months is so important. All of these trainings are going to change because now we're going to have to adjust what we do to mirror Compass One, right? So your whole sales, marketing, and customer service experience will be built in one place. And I can promise you this, it's taken myself, my team, and 2 amazing agents 5 freaking months to do this. The statistical probability of anyone being able to replicate the service system you have, it's next to impossible.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, we have 5 years worth of materials to give into this process.
Yeah.
And if you don't have all those scripts, right? So we'll give you a checklist, but we want to build this in. And then we have to build out 2 different versions, actually 4 different versions, a buyer and seller for escrow states and a buyer and seller for non-escrow states.
I see.
So the cool part is in July, everyone will have, depending on where their market is, they'll have the systems published into their account.
Wonderful.
And so our Marketing Center assets will have to, then for the Marketing Center assets, we have to manually add you onto each one. So the amount of administrative work in this, yes, Cherish, it's not for the faint heart. But, you know, we're looking at now, like, where can we integrate AI prompts and things like that? And this is something that we'll just continue to refine over time. But this is the future of where our coaching is going, right? So there'll be a lot of talking about the client views, understanding notifications, when to use scripts. It's the way that we're teaching these courses is going to be very different than what we're doing now.
Okay. Well, I'm excited. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's very good stuff.
Anyone else?
I have a quick question about what you said, being clear about what we're collecting feedback on. How do we define that? What are we thinking? Experiences, must-haves, like that's from the conversation before, or?
Yeah, so I would say, you know, I would ask people what they love most about the house, right? The second question is based on the things you love and your functional flow, what experiences you feel you could have in this house? Which ones did you want to have that you can have? And what are the deal breakers, right? And if there are no deal breakers, then you ask them, is this a property that you'd be interested in having more information on or potentially making an offer? If they say yes, then you ask them what specific information would be helpful for you. And we're capturing all of that stuff, right?
Okay, thanks.
What else would be most helpful to all of you? Like, how can we give you more?
More prompts.
More prompts. They'll be, when we go through the AI course this summer, it'll blow your mind away. And you know what the funny thing is? People are like, how do you know how to do all this? I've never taken an AI course in my life. I just figure it out, right? And now I've figured it out enough that I could teach anyone to do anything on any task within ChatGPT.
Just to confirm, so you're saying after you do all the tours and you ask those 3 questions and it gets summarized, you put it like as like a Word doc on Google Chat and Google Docs, and then you add that link to
Yep.
Compass One or whatever, however you want to house it. And then so
Yep.
you just have, if you have like a tour on 9/10 and 9/11 and 9/12, whatever dates they are, just like organized that way.
Yes.
That's how you recommend it. Okay. I mean, it seems a lot self-explanatory. It just implementing it, I think, is my problem of getting it to do it.
Yep. So I just think that for all of us, like, go through and go look at properties with a team member, right? Find one of your team leaders. They're in our coaching sessions all the time. So ask Brian or someone else to do this with you and have them do the same thing for you. You do the same thing for them, categorize, summarize it, and you send it to him. He sends it to you so you can start understanding what this looks like. That's the best way to go about it. So, all right, it's 12 o'clock on the dot. Cherish, it is time for role playing. And look, everybody, love in my heart, I love you all. I hope to see a lot of you next week. And look, the future's bright. We are, I believe, 500 steps ahead of everybody else in the world today. With technology integration, like, look, the reality is there is little to no training on Compass One, let alone people building an entire sales, marketing, and customer service experiences in here. So if you think about it, once this is done, all you will be doing for the next years of your life is learning each part. But now every time you have a client, it's like I'm there with you. Like, here's what you do, here's what you say, here's what you send, and you have an entire system just to follow. So, all right, Charles, it's your time. Bye, everybody.
Good morning.